Jeff, I think I want to say it was about 3 years ago. We're here in your workshop, your experimental dungeon, tech dungeon.
Yep.
And you were working on something like a scissor lift bike stand. Anyway, I think you finally got it to market a couple of years ago after a lot of prototypes and seeing you mucking around with the thing and getting feedback from a whole lot of people. We've now had one for best part of a year. And I've got to say, I love the thing, mate.
Mm. Yeah,
active feedback. This is a consumer feedback.
Oh yeah,
right
cool.
Here, right? Mate, for me, just not having to lift onto a static stand, big difference. The big platform you got on the thing, so you can actually take wheels out of either end, and the thing doesn't tip off.
Yep.
Probably the biggest thing I guess we found, aside from that convenience and the fact you can pump it up and just let it down, is variable height. But not only that, I think it's $190 for the stand, an extra $40 for the wheels, but just in confined spaces, actually just being able to, if you've got a little workshop, just being able to
I think it's $50 for the wheels and about $189 or thereabouts for the main stand. People who are in tighter spots seem to love to get the wheel kit as well, because you can kind of, this is on carpet, so it's not as good, but obviously on a hard surface, it's easier to push around, so that's good if you're in a tight spot and you're trying to put them up against a wall and move them. Sometimes you've got the wheels out and you go, oh, how do you do it? So when it's on its own wheels, that helps.
Yeah.
The beauty of having the height, obviously it saves your back a bit. Having it maybe around this height, which is not very high, from the 305 is the lowest in its standard form. The wheel's at about 40 mil.
Yeah. So you have to have the legs in the lowest position. They're adjustable too.
Yeah.
So you have to have them in the lowest position.
If you're running the wheels.
If
you're running the wheels, there's a couple of positions there.
Yeah.
If you're working on the handlebars or air filter or something, this is pretty good height. Obviously, it's all about getting it right up for certain things. You might be working on, front sprocket area or changing the gear lever or something like that.
Yeah.
So shall I give that a little pump?
Well, if you're working on your linkage or something like that,
Well, it goes quite high. Obviously, you get the bike in a balanced position.
Yep.
If it's in a lower sort of area like it is now, then the safety pin is probably not important at all. It's mainly when you get it up high, and obviously, common sense. You don't get up there and sit on it and go crazy, but it's quite stable. It's just a thing to make certain work convenient.
It's a good little workout as you press it up, right?
Yeah, it goes up pretty reasonably and quite quickly in a way.
Yeah.
So you might want to stop here if it's.
And then that's your safety pin. That just goes
straight
through.
That just goes through like you put it through now.
Yeah.
It should go through that hole.
Straight through there.
You can show it there. Yeah.
Does that go through?
Obviously, once that's in, then it can't leak. It's down and kids around it or anything like that. Obviously that's pretty important, but having it up here for certain types of work is pretty cool.
And I think I want to say the catalogue says 150 kilos, so it's not made for an adventure bike. It's sort of pretty much Duro motocross specific.
Yeah, it's sort of made for these bikes. The main sort of off-road adventure bike. 21-inch front wheels, not adventure bikes. Sorry, the enduro bikes.
Yep.
It's really made for that sort of purpose. It's you can get much heavier, obviously more expensive, heavier duty for heavier bikes. But 150 kilos thereabouts, this thing's going to lift it and sit there pretty comfortably. So it's about saving your back and making it a bit easier to work on certain things.
A bit more than your average static stand. I know they vary in price massively, but
yes,
a bunch of functionality. Makes it a whole lot simpler to use.
It does. And I'm an old school guy, so I'm used to working on bikes on the ground. So, but for some jobs, it's still handy as. I get a lot of good feedback with people who once they start using them, they seem to love them. So, two ways of buying them without the wheels or buying, you can't buy them with the wheels. You buy it as an extra kit, so you get the standard legs and you take them off and put the wheels on. But hard surfaces, moving around and getting them out of the way can be one of the good features of the wheels.
And then it's just as simple as release valve lowers it nice and slowly.
It's got what they call a slow release jack, so it doesn't just rock it to the ground. It's a bit of safety, obviously, again, common sense. Everything's clear around it. There's no kids lying underneath it or something. Yeah. And just let it back down, and you're away.
And most importantly, mate, it comes in two colours.
True. Yeah, it comes in grey or
to
KDM
whatever
orange,
to
you know.
match your
Yeah.
workshop.
Yeah, and you never know, there might be another colour or two in the future somewhere, but at the moment there's 2 colours there.
Yeah, and look, it sounds like a crazy thing, but just being able to turn it out, wheel it out the door, to do something, it's in a lot of the confined spaces we've been working with has made life that much easier.
Yeah, cool. Oh, cool.